All right, so when I first started, I was 160 pounds, skinny, unsure if I could ever build a strong physique. I pushed myself, you know, up to 200 pounds, sometimes dirty bulking, sometimes I was doing the clean bulking. And what I learned from this was actually that I looked at my physique and I looked slightly better when I did a lean bulk instead of a dirty bulk, right? And that's when the muscle stood out the most, and that's when I finally understood that it's not just about getting bigger; it's about building the right physique. So today I'm going to give you the exact blueprint to go from skinny to jacked, right? We'll cover the mindset, we'll cover nutrition and training, three pillars that transform my body and can transform yours as well, right? By the way, if you want to work with me personally one-on-one to reach your fitness goals, book a one-on-one call with me, and we'll see first thing in the description or in the comment section, and we'll see if it makes sense to work together. A little shameless plug for those of you guys that need it, and make sure you like, comment, subscribe as well. A little shameless plug for those of you guys that. So if you're skinny, you know the struggle. You know that you eat, you don't gain, your metabolism burns through everything, and your body refuses to change, right? So it feels impossible, but I promise you, it literally isn't. And that's why in this guide, we're going to first start with the mindset. We're going to talk about this is arguably the most important part of the whole guide, right? Because a lot of you, it's an inconsistency. You have an inconsistency problem. It's a stop, start problem, right? And the thing about it is that it's actually not even your fault. It's actually because you don't have any fuel in the tank. You don't have gas in the car, and that's why your vehicle is not able to move. Right? That's why you don't have any motivation. It's because you don't have the right enemies. You haven't chosen an enemy that ignites a fire out of you, right? And I got this idea from the book Patrick Bet-David's Choose Your Enemies Wisely. And he talks about choosing enemies, the right enemies to ignite a fire in you to get you to reach your goals, to get you to be more motivated so that you can actually stay consistent, right? And a lot of you guys have a problem with inconsistency problems. So you need to find enemies that are going to drive you. And, right? Enemies can be anything, right? Like every hero needs an enemy. And for you, that enemy might be a weak version of your past self. That enemy might be, someone who doubted you. It might be certain environments that you're in that are your enemies. Maybe certain situations, right? They could be people that roasted you. Maybe a girl dumped you. Maybe I don't know. It literally could be anything, right? Enemies look different for different types of people. So you have to pick the right enemies that are going to ignite a fire in you, that are going to keep you going, right? You need to find a strong enough reason to keep going. And keep in mind, a lot of people might get this twisted. Enemies only drive you for the moment, right? It's not something that you keep for life. Enemies are not for life. It's something that drives you in the moment. And then once you actually become consistent, you outgrow those enemies. So eventually those enemies won't drive you anymore. It's just something to keep you consistent for a season, right? These are not lifelong enemies. And, to continue on with this mindset talk, you need to visualize the physique. When I first started my fitness journey, I was a very imaginative person. I always used to visualize what I would look like when I actually got jacked, what I would look like when I actually built the physique that I wanted. So I would close my eyes and I would visualize what it would look like, right? You could speak affirmations, visualize before you go to bed, visualize how you're going to stand, how you're going to walk, how you're going to talk, visualize the broad shoulders, the biceps, the chest, all that stuff. You need to see it, right? You got to be an architect of your body. You need to see the physique before you actually build it. It's not just going to come out of thin air, right? Before you even start working on it, you need to see it first. If you don't see it, then you can't build it. You need a blueprint. So now we're going to get into specific stuff, right? We're going to get into calorie surplus and all that nature, right? So the truth of the matter is a lot of you guys are not eating enough. You are not eating in a calorie surplus. Calorie surplus is, you need to eat at least 300 to 500 above your maintenance, right? And the easy way you could tell if you're eating enough or not is the way I did it was years ago, about 7, 8 years ago now. I went on to Google, type in your weight and height into a weight calculator, and it will literally tell you the exact amount you need to eat, right? You will literally, all you got to do is go into Google, type in your weight and height, and it will tell you how much you need to eat. That literally does half the work for you. Then you can figure out what foods add up to that number, right? And in terms of the stuff you need to eat, you got, you got to eat your, protein. One thing I forgot to add into this presentation, you need to eat 1 gram of protein per body weight for muscle growth, right? And protein is going to be big. That's going to be a thing that's going to help you build muscle. So foods like chicken, beef, eggs, protein shakes really helped me in the beginning. What I used to do is I used to mix protein shakes together. So I would make, put your whey protein in there, put in a banana, peanut butter, add some nuts, pause. But this is when I was like dirty bulking. So you can adjust this as you will. But yeah, I put milk in there, mix it up into a blender, and I have one of those a day, right? You eat your carbs, so your rice, pasta, potatoes, oats, and this is going to fuel your work. That's going to give you fuel so you can actually go back and lift heavy, right? Usually I would have pasta or like rice or potato, those kinds of stuff before the workout to give yourself some fuel. Not like too much, not like a table full, not table full, table full. What's the word I'm looking for? A plate, not a plate full, but just a decent amount just to give you that fuel. Depends on the person too. Some people like to go fasted. Some people like to have a little bit of carbs before the workout. Dealer's choice. So you got your fats, so peanut butter, nuts, no diddy, as I mentioned before, olive oil, cheese, things of that nature, for your healthy fats. So the next slide, we're going to go into your meal plan. So don't try to do it all in 2 meals. You want to spread it out. You want to spread it out 4 to 6 meals, a day, each with protein and carbs and fat. Like I mentioned before, protein shakes, they're really good for that, good for building up muscle. And I would say snacking too, add some snacks in between the day. So what I used to do is I would eat peanuts, pause, and I would literally have a bag of nuts, pause, and I would eat them throughout the day, right? Eat them throughout the day, because peanuts actually have a lot of protein, right? I can't remember exactly how much protein. I think it was like 0. Let me know down below in the comments. I can't remember exactly how much protein there was, but I remember there's a lot of protein in there, and that helped me gain a significant amount of weight, right? I would carry like a canister of nuts, pause, like in my backpack, and I would take a handful every so hours, or sometimes a handful a day, and that helped me gain weight, right? So you can add that tip into your arsenal, as well as protein shakes. Those really helped boost my weight. So whatever whey protein you use, mix it with some milk, add some nuts in there, pause, some peanut butter, a banana. Some people like to put egg whites in there. I think that's kind of gross, but if you want to, if that doesn't bother you, you can also try that too. Because egg whites have a lot of protein in them as well. But yeah, the main TLDR from this slide is making sure you spread out your meals, snacking throughout the day, whether it's through protein shakes, carrying a bag of nuts, pause that you're eating, carrying it throughout the day and stuff like that. And then having your main 4 to 6 meals throughout the day, right? Spreading it out, because there's a problem as skinny guys is that you guys don't really have the appetite to be eating these huge ass meals, right? So you got to spread out these meals, make sure they're high protein, so you're hitting your protein goals, hitting your caloric surplus goals. That's the main thing when you're trying to bulk as a skinny guy. Now we're going to get into training, progressive overload. So you want to increase the difficulty of the workouts each time. So time under tension, training 4 to 5 days a week, push-pull legs, upper, lower. For those of you guys that don't know what progressive overload is, it's making sure that you are increasing the intensity of the workout each time. You're increasing the weight and intensity each time you go, right? So if you're lifting 5 pounds 1 week, the next week you up it to 10 pounds, and then up it to 15 and 20, so on and so forth, right? And then you want to practice time under tension. So performing the movement slow and controlled so that you can actually tear those muscle fibers so that you can build muscle, right? For those of you guys that don't understand, you want to break down these muscle fibers, right? So that you want to tear these muscle fibers down, right? So then they break down and then they get rebuilt when you eat proper foods that have protein in them, and they get built through amino acids and things of that nature. TLDR, what you need to know is time under tension, train harder than last time. Shout out Greg, you said, and eat the surplus so that you can rebuild those muscles back up, right? You're tearing the muscle down and you're rebuilding it back up, right? You don't need to think too hard about it. You choose a split that it works for you. So whether that's a push-pull leg split or upper-lower split, choose the split that is fun for you, that you enjoy doing, so that's going to actually keep you consistent in the gym, right? You might as well choose something that you enjoy so that you are consistent with your workouts. Progressive overload continued, right? So you want to go 6 to 12 reps for growth, or you can either go to failure. I tried both in the past. I've done the 6 to 12 or like the 8 to 10 reps, 3 sets of 8 to 12, 8 to 10. I've done that in the past and it's worked for me. I've gotten the gains. I saw the results. Right now, currently, I've switched it up a little bit. I personally do training to failure. Like I mix it up like a hybrid of both. Some I do 2 sets to failure, and then some I do like 3 sets of 8 to 10, 8 to 12 kind of rep range, right? Either way, I think works. I think the main thing is as long as you're pushing yourself and you're progressive overloading and training yourself harder than last time, as long as you're upping the weight, increasing it, pushing yourself, doing time under tension, you're performing this, which means that you're performing the workouts slow and controlled movements so that you actually feel that burn. I think that's the main thing. And then, tracking your lifts, making sure you're lifting heavier than last time, lifting, like increasing the volume, increasing the intensity of the workout, making sure it's harder than last time. Time under tension, in terms of cardio, a steady state cardio isn't bad. You don't want to overdo it though, because you are trying to bulk, you are trying to, gain weight. But cardio is good because of like that cardiovascular health and things of that nature. Like a 10-minute Stairmaster should do the trick, or like a 10-minute, light jog, whatever, dealer's choice, whatever kind of cardio you want to do. In terms of cardio, I always like to say, choose something that's actually enjoyable for you as cardio. But then again, like I said, you don't want to overdo it because you are bulking and skinny. As a skinny guy with a high metabolism, you got to watch out for that. And if you are going to do cardio, then I would suggest upping your caloric intake even more so that you can make sure you're actually gaining muscle and moving up in weight. Another important key aspect to this as well is making sure that you're sleeping 7 to 9 hours of sleep. So sleep is going to be very important, going to help you get stronger, build muscle, and things of that nature. So we want to talk about delayed gratification versus instant gratification. So this is where it comes down to lean bulking and dirty bulking, right? So the lean bulking could be seen as the delayed gratification, and the dirty bulking is like the instant gratification, right? When it comes to building muscle, you need to understand the difference between delayed. When it comes to building muscle, you want to understand the difference between delayed gratification and instant gratification. Right? Bulking isn't something that happens in a couple of weeks. It takes months. It takes months of consistency. If you choose the dirty bulk route, you'll gain some size, you'll gain some muscle, but you won't look as good, right? Especially with the shirt off, right? But if you decide to go the lean bulk way, you'll get the physique that you actually want, right? See, the lean bulk, it takes a lot more patience. It's slower. You'll stay leaner. You'll look aesthetic, but it's just a lot slower. That's the only downside of it, right? But if you dirty bulk, you're gonna have to make sure you cut. You're gonna have to make sure you do a proper cut. But if you do a lean bulk, the cut will go a lot more smoother. And in some cases, you may not actually need to cut. You can just main gain, right? You can just maintain that weight and just slowly build muscle at that weight, right? So the real question is, are you willing to wait for long-term results, or are you just chasing a quick fix, right? That's the main thing of all of this. Like, this is literally delayed gratification versus instant gratification, right? I've done both. I've done dirty bulk and I've done the lean bulk. If I were to go back in time, it's tough to say because the dirty bulk, I did gain a lot of muscle mass, but I did gain a lot of fat in the process. So I honestly would suggest doing the lean bulk, where you gain muscle slowly over time and you actually get the physique that you want, right? I guess I would say, I don't think I regretted doing a dirty bulk because I learned from it. And because I learned from it, now I can tell you guys not to do it, right? So I guess that is the plus side. By the way, if you're serious about taking your fitness to the next level, book a one-on-one consultation. The first thing in the description or in the comment section where you can apply to work with me one-on-one. Maybe you're a skinny guy right now and you feel like you've been trying everything. Nothing's working. You've been trying all these different programs and diets, and you feel like you're just a hamster on a wheel. Nothing's working for you, right? That sounds like you, and you need help building a physique that commands attention and never bores the audience. You need help recreating yourself. Hit the link in the description. I'm the guy for that. We'll see if it makes sense to work together, right? If you are selected in this process, I'll work with you for the next 6 months so that you can reach your fitness goals, so that we'll work with you to help you recreate yourself into the man that you were meant to be, right? If you're a skinny guy right now, and if this excites you, this sounds like something that you want to do, make sure you hit that link, first link in the description. We'll have a little conversation, see if it makes sense to work together. Like, comment, subscribe, and remember, there's nothing enlightening about playing small. I'm going to catch you on the next video. See ya.